Jomon period, 14,000 BCE, 300 BCE. The Jomon period is distinguished by its pottery, characterized by cord-marked patterns. The Jomon people, named after this pottery style, were primarily hunter-gatherers who also engaged in fishing and foraging. They lived in pit dwellings, which were semi-subterranean houses that provided shelter from harsh weather. The Jomon society was relatively egalitarian, with evidence of some form of religious or ritualistic practices, indicated by the discovery of clay figurines known as dogu. The transition to the Yayoi period brought significant changes, such as the introduction of rice cultivation, which had profound implications for societal development. The Yayoi people, likely migrants from the Korean peninsula, brought advanced farming techniques, leading to settled agricultural communities and increased social stratification. This period also saw the introduction of metalworking with bronze and iron, which were used for tools, weapons, and ritual objects, marking a clear technological advancement from the Jomon era. Yayoi period, 300 BCE, 300 CE. The Yayoi period is crucial for understanding the development of early Japanese society. The introduction of wet rice agriculture allowed for population growth and the establishment of permanent settlements. These changes led to the development of social hierarchies and the emergence of powerful clan leaders. The period is named after the Yayoi district in Tokyo, where artifacts from this era were first discovered. The Yayoi people built large, fortified villages and developed advanced techniques in pottery, metalworking, and weaving. Their society was more hierarchical than that of the Jomon people, with evidence of social stratification and the formation of political alliances. The period also saw the beginning of trade with neighboring regions, such as Korea and China, which influenced the cultural and technological development of Japan. Kofun period, 300 to 538. The Kofun period is named after the large burial mounds, kofun, constructed for the elite. These mounds, some of which were shaped like keyholes, contained elaborate grave goods, including weapons, armor, and pottery. The period marks the emergence of a more centralized political structure, with powerful clans vying for control over territories. The Yamato clan, in particular, gained dominance during this period, establishing the foundation for the Japanese imperial family. The Yamato rulers consolidated their power through military conquests and strategic alliances with other powerful clans. They also adopted Chinese practices and cultural elements, which influenced the development of the Japanese state. Asuka period, 538 to 710. The Asuka period is marked by the introduction and spread of Buddhism in Japan, which significantly influenced the country's culture, politics, and art. Prince Shotoku, a prominent regent, played a crucial role in promoting Buddhism and implementing governmental reforms based on Chinese models. He is also credited with drafting the 17-article constitution, which emphasized the importance of harmony and centralized authority. During this period, Japan established diplomatic and cultural ties with China and Korea, adopting aspects of their administrative systems, writing, and religion. The Asuka period saw the construction of significant Buddhist temples, such as Horyoji, which became centers of learning and culture. The period also witnessed the compilation of historical records, including the Kojiki and Nihon Shoki, which documented Japan's early history and mythology. Nara period, 710 to 794. The Nara period saw the establishment of the first permanent capital in Nara, modeled after the Chinese capital of Chang'an. The city was laid out in a grid pattern, with grand avenues, palaces, and temples. The Nara period is known for its cultural achievements, particularly in the arts and literature. Buddhism continued to flourish, with the construction of the Great Buddha, Daibutsu, at Todaiji Temple, a symbol of the emperor's power and piety. The government during the Nara period was highly centralized, with a bureaucratic system based on the Chinese model. The period also saw the codification of laws and the creation of a centralized tax system. However, the increasing power and influence of Buddhist monasteries posed a challenge to the imperial authority, leading to tensions between the secular and religious authorities. Heian period, 794 to 1185. The Heian period is often regarded as a golden age of Japanese culture. The capital was moved to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto, marking the beginning of this era. The period is celebrated for its courtly culture, with the aristocracy engaging in elaborate rituals, poetry, and literary pursuits. One of the most famous literary works from this period is The Tale of Genji, written by Murasaki Shikibu, which is considered one of the world's first novels. The Fujiwara clan dominated the political scene through strategic marriages into the imperial family, effectively controlling the government. The Heian period also saw the development of a distinct Japanese writing system, with the use of kana syllabaries complementing Chinese characters. Despite the cultural achievements, the period was marked by growing economic and political instability, leading to the rise of regional military clans and the eventual decline of central authority. Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333. The Kamakura period began with the establishment of the first shogunate under Minamoto no Yoritamo. This era marked the rise of the samurai class and the introduction of feudalism in Japan. The shogunate, based in Kamakura, implemented a military government that coexisted with the imperial court in Kyoto. The Kamakura period was a time of significant military conflict, including the Mongol invasions in the late 13th century. The Japanese successfully repelled the invasions, partly due to the divine winds, or kamikaze typhoons that destroyed much of the Mongol fleet. The period also saw the spread of Zen Buddhism, which became popular among the samurai class for its emphasis on discipline and meditation. Muromachi period, 1336 to 1573. The Muromachi period, named after the district in Kyoto where the Ashikaga shogunate was based, was marked by political instability and cultural flourishing. The Ashikaga shogunate struggled to maintain control over the country, leading to the outbreak of the Unin War, 1467 to 1477, which plunged Japan into a century-long period of civil war known as the Sengoku Jidai. Despite the political chaos, the Muromachi period saw significant cultural developments, including the rise of the tea ceremony, no theater, and ink painting. The period also witnessed increased contact with China, leading to the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural practices. The arrival of Portuguese traders in the mid-16th century introduced firearms and Christianity to Japan, further influencing the country's development. Sengoku period, 1467 to 1603. The Sengoku period, or Warring States period, was characterized by constant military conflict and social upheaval. Powerful regional warlords, daimyo, fought for control over territories, leading to a fragmented and chaotic political landscape. The period saw the emergence of three key figures, Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu, each of whom played crucial roles in the unification of Japan. Oda Nobunaga was known for his military innovations and ruthless tactics, which allowed him to consolidate power in central Japan. After his assassination, Toyotomi Hideyoshi continued the unification efforts, implementing administrative reforms and attempting to invade Korea. Following Hideyoshi's death, Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged victorious at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, paving the way for the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate. Azuchi Momoyama period, 1573 to 1603. The Azuchi Momoyama period, named after the castles of Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, was a transitional era marked by efforts to unify Japan. Nobunaga's military campaigns and Hideyoshi's administrative reforms were pivotal in consolidating power and laying the foundation for a centralized state. The period saw significant cultural developments, including the construction of grand castles, the patronage of the arts, and the spread of the tea ceremony. Hideyoshi's invasions of Korea, 1592 to 1598, were ultimately unsuccessful but showcased Japan's military ambition. The period ended with the rise of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who established the Tokugawa shogunate in 1603, bringing stability and peace to Japan. Edo period, 1603 to 1868. The Edo period, also known as the Tokugawa period, was marked by over 250 years of peace, stability, and isolation, sakoku. The Tokugawa shogunate implemented a strict social order, dividing society into rigid classes: samurai, farmers, artisans, and merchants. The shogunate also promoted economic growth through policies that encouraged agricultural production and controlled trade. The period saw the flourishing of arts and culture, particularly ukiyo-e woodblock prints, kabuki theater, and haiku poetry. The isolationist policies of the shogunate limited foreign influence, but clandestine trade and cultural exchange continued. The arrival of Commodore Perry in 1853 and the subsequent opening of Japan to the west marked the beginning of the end for the Tokugawa shogunate. Meiji Restoration, 1868. The Meiji Restoration was a pivotal event that marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the restoration of imperial rule under Emperor Meiji. This period saw the rapid modernization and westernization of Japan, transforming it into a major industrial and military power. The Meiji government implemented extensive reforms, including the abolition of the feudal system, the establishment of a constitutional monarchy, and the adoption of Western technologies and institutions. The Meiji period also saw the expansion of Japan's influence abroad, with victories in the First Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 1895, and the Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, solidifying its status as a regional power. The period was characterized by significant social, economic, and political changes, as Japan sought to catch up with the Western powers and assert itself on the global stage. Taisho period, 1912 to 1926. The Taisho period, named after Emperor Taisho, was a time of political and social change in Japan. The period saw the development of democracy and political pluralism, known as Taisho democracy. The government implemented reforms to expand suffrage, improve labor conditions, and promote social welfare. However, the period was also marked by social unrest and economic challenges, including the impact of World War I and the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake. Japan continued its imperial expansion during this period, participating in World War I on the side of the Allies and gaining territories through the Treaty of Versailles. The Taisho period laid the groundwork for Japan's further militarization and expansion in the following decades. Showa period, 1926 to 1989. The Showa period, under Emperor Hirohito, witnessed significant upheavals, including Japan's aggressive expansion in Asia and its involvement in World War II. The period saw the rise of militarism and the establishment of a militaristic government that pursued imperial ambitions in China, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 led to its entry into World War II, culminating in the devastating defeat in 1945. The post-war period saw significant American influence, democratization, and economic reconstruction under the guidance of the Allied occupation forces. Japan adopted a pacifist constitution, renouncing war as a means of settling international disputes. The country experienced rapid economic growth, known as the Japanese economic miracle, becoming a global economic powerhouse by the 1980s. The Showa period also saw significant social and cultural changes, as Japan rebuilt itself into a modern, industrialized nation. World War II and aftermath, 1939 to 1945. Japan's role in World War II had profound and lasting effects on the country. The attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 led to a prolonged conflict with the Allied powers, resulting in significant loss of life and destruction. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945 forced Japan to surrender, bringing an end to the war. The post-war period was marked by American occupation and extensive reforms, including the adoption of a new constitution that emphasized democracy, human rights, and pacifism. The occupation authorities implemented land reforms, educational reforms, and economic policies that laid the foundation for Japan's post-war recovery. The experience of World War II had a profound impact on Japan's national identity, foreign policy, and relationship with the international community. Economic miracle, 1950s, 1980s. The post-war period saw Japan's rapid economic recovery and growth, known as the economic miracle. The government implemented policies that promoted industrialization, technological innovation, and export-led growth. Key industries such as electronics, automobiles, and robotics emerged, positioning Japan as a leading global economic power. Japan's economic success was driven by factors such as a highly skilled workforce, government-business cooperation, and significant investments in research and development. The country also benefited from a favorable international environment, including access to American markets and technology. By the 1980s, Japan had become the world's second-largest economy, known for its high-quality products and advanced technology. Heisei period, 1989 to 2019. The Heisei era, under Emperor Akihito, was marked by economic challenges following the burst of the asset price bubble in the early 1990s. Japan faced a prolonged period of economic stagnation, known as the Lost Decade, characterized by deflation, low growth, and financial instability. The government implemented various economic policies to stimulate growth, but the country continued to grapple with structural issues such as an aging population and declining birth rates. The Heisei period also saw significant natural disasters, including the 1995 Kobe earthquake and the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, which caused widespread destruction and loss of life. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, triggered by the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, had profound effects on Japan's energy policy and public perception of nuclear power. 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. On March 11, 2011, Japan was struck by a devastating earthquake and tsunami, leading to significant loss of life and the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. The earthquake, with a magnitude of 9.0, was one of the most powerful ever recorded and caused widespread damage along the northeastern coast of Japan. The tsunami that followed inundated coastal communities, leading to the deaths of over 15,000 people and displacing hundreds of thousands. The Fukushima nuclear disaster resulted in the release of radioactive materials, prompting evacuations and raising concerns about the safety of nuclear power. The disaster had a profound impact on Japan's energy policy, leading to a shift towards renewable energy sources and increased investment in disaster preparedness and recovery. Reiwa period, 2019, present. The Reiwa era began with Emperor Naruhito's ascension to the throne, marking a new chapter in Japan's history. Contemporary Japan continues to address challenges such as demographic decline, economic reforms, and regional security concerns. The government has implemented policies to stimulate economic growth, promote innovation, and address social issues such as aging and declining birth rates. Japan continues to play a significant role in the international community, participating in global economic, political, and security initiatives. The country maintains its cultural heritage while embracing technological advancements, making it a unique blend of tradition and modernity. The Reiwa period also saw Japan hosting the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, held in 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, showcasing its resilience and capability to the world. Conclusion. From its ancient origins in the Jomon period to its contemporary status in the Reiwa era, Japan has undergone significant transformations. The country's history is marked by periods of cultural flourishing, political upheaval, military conflict, and economic prosperity. Each milestone in Japan's history has contributed to shaping its unique identity and place in the world, reflecting a rich tapestry of traditions, innovations, and resilience. Throughout its history, Japan has demonstrated a remarkable ability to adapt and evolve, whether through the adoption of new technologies, the reform of its political and social structures, or the recovery from natural and man-made disasters. Today, Japan continues to be a dynamic and influential nation, with a rich cultural heritage and a forward-looking approach to the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century.